Stop licking. I'm trying to teach. Okay. So there are some standard things about your drafting package. When you, let's see, your first plate on any drafting package is going to be the ground plan. So if you look in your title block, that's this whole section on the side, you'll see your ground plan is here. That's going to be on each individual sheet of this drafting package. What the name of the sheet is going to show up right here on the side. So this is boxcar elevation. This is game stalls elevations, okay? A ground plan is the top view, like someone sitting in the rafters of the theater looking down. On a ground plan, there are a bunch of things that are standard that we include in every drawing. This drawing is on Arch D size, which is the big paper that I printed out for the light plot pages. And now I'm going to kind of zoom in and give you a little bit more detail about what's going on. So each individual thing is visible in top plan view. Each individual scenic unit is labeled and also has a drawing label. So the drawing label, let's see if this will do a thing. Oh no, that's not the way I want to do this. No. Comment. Maybe that'll let me do what I need to do. I don't want to look at them. I just want to draw. There we go. Okay. All right. Let's try this again. So in your top plan view, you have certain elements that'll be consistent. Okay. So there's a drawing label, typically. There's Okay, so in your top plan view, there are some elements that will be consistent, right? So you'll have a name for a scenic unit if it's something that can be named. If your set, the way that mine is in this show, is made up of a bunch of units that are going to move around from scene to scene, I've named each of these units so that it's easy to identify them from like page to page and location to location. So this one I called Billboard. No one else really followed me into that game. This one is open platform in this place. It ended up during the show being named by the content of the banner that was painted on it, but for now that was open platform. This is the ladder platform over here. That's the stairs, right? This is the boxcar. Each of these individual pieces also has a drawing label. And in my case, I'm using a standard Vectorworks symbol, which is this little circle with the arrow. Okay, so you'll notice that like the stairs has that little circle with the arrow. And the boxcar has this little circle with the arrow. Those are super useful because those are telling you where to look in the rest of the drafting package to find the elevations. And the elevations are like your detail drawings for that specific scenic unit. So in the ground plan view, you can see the overview of the top of each of these scenic units. But once we need to actually build it, I need more detail. I need what does the front look like? What does the side look like? And those pieces of information are all on different plates of the drafting. So if you're looking back at your title block over here, sheet 1 of 6, okay, that's going to be in the corner of each plate of my drafting. And then that will correspond with the number. So the sheet number will correspond with the number in the bottom of your drawing labels, okay? So, for example, the stairs will be drawing B on plate 3. So plate is the sheet. So on page 3 of this drafting package, I should find some stairs, and they should be labeled drawing B. So let's go look for the stairs, okay? So I'm going to zoom back out. If I turn on the pages over here, right, does that do the thing I want? Yes, it does. Great. So now I can scroll down to sheet 3, and I can zoom in and look for drawing B. And that, oops, I went too far. This is the arrows part. No, not in there. Pointer. So, I'm looking over here for drawing. That's more of drawing A. Here we go. Drawing B. Stair unit on Aircasters. Okay. So this is all the information about drawing, about building these stairs. Okay. So you have the total dimensions of the stair unit. In this top view, you're looking down from above. In the side view, you're looking from the side at the stair unit. You could also have a front view, but you don't necessarily need it in this case, so I didn't draft it. I just drafted the top and the side because that's enough information for someone to build this piece. There are drafting standards in that way, where you would draft the top, the front, and the side view, and that would be an orthographic projection. And we'll look at that in 1 second when we look at one of the game units. But for this one, all I need in order to be able to build it is, what does the top view look like? What are the measurements? And what does the side view look like? And if you look at it, there are a couple of other like drafting conventions that are going to guide what's going on. So you'll see that this says 11 inches TYP. That means typical. So what I mean when I write that is that all of these step depths will be 11 inches. Same thing over here. This 8 inches TYP means that each of these steps up is going to typically be 8 inches. So now I don't have to draw a dimension for each individual stair. I can just say 8 inches for each step, up to 2 foot 8 inches total. And each step is now 11 inches deep. So those are drafting standards that are going to be helpful as we move forward. This also has a notation here, just a note that's included in its dimensions, and that is that the stock stair unit height should land 1 step below the height of the boxcar deck. And that's a note to my technical director, because the idea is that the stairs here, and then you step 1 more step up, and you're inside of this boxcar unit, which is also on the same plate. So if we zoom out and we look at the other elevations on this plate, the other one is this boxcar unit. That's a more complex unit, so it comes in like this as a 3D sketch, so you can see it. It has some reference images. These are the research pieces that I used to design it. And then it has much more detail in terms of how it would be constructed. Walls are wooden planking. Trim could be 1x material or framing or whatever you need, right? This is a door opening. This is a fabric skirting. So those pieces are all delineated and marked on the drafting. This is where there's a boxcar door, okay? It's right here so that you can see what it would look like, this door unit, right? That kind of stuff, right, is all built into this set of drawings. And I have them all labeled A, and then I numbered them after that, so that when I'm trying to talk to my TD about what the drawing that I'm referring to is, I can say, go to plate 3, look at drawing A4, the boxcar door front, and I know that we're talking about the same drafting piece. We're talking about the same drawing. And then he would take all of these drawings, if he were a good technical director, and make construction drawings for them for his shop. He's not, so he didn't do that, and a lot of things were not built the way I wanted, but that's neither here nor there. This show is over. All right, so I'm going to go back up to my ground plan view. So let's take a look at one of these. Let's take a look at this ladder platform object. So that's going to be drawing C on plate 4. So let's go to plate 4. Plate 4. Hi, plate 4. How you doing? All right, so here we are on plate 4. Let's go find drawing C. Hey, hi, plate 4, drawing C. Okay, here we go. So it's a platform on Aircasters. Aircasters are really great. They're basically a hydraulic lift system that pushes the wheels down into the floor when you need them to roll something around. And then when you don't want them rolling around, you flip a switch and the air pressure releases and the casters retreat up into the platform so that the whole platform is sitting on the floor. It makes it so that you don't have to use like stage locks in order to lock something down, because you're able to just lift it up when you want to move it and then set it down when you don't. So that's a cool piece of technology. So that is that. there's this nice awning situation. So this is a standard orthographic projection right here because I have a top view up here, top. I have a front view right here, and then I have a side view over here, okay? And for this one, I called it an enclosed trailer, which if I were a better drafter, it would match the name that I have over here, right? So I would say ladder, it would say ladder platform instead of enclosed trailer, in order to be consistent from plate to plate. But I changed the name of it in the ground plan because we started calling it the ladder platform, and so I wanted my notations to match what people were actually saying as opposed to the thing I decided it was called a long time ago. You'll see there's a little circle here with a number in it, and that says plus 18 inches. So anytime you see a circle with a number of inches in it, that's telling you it's a height. That's telling you that whatever surface that number is on is plus 18 inches off of the regular floor, okay? This one I said at height of steel deck. My guess was 6 inches, but I didn't know how thick their steel deck actually was, so I didn't want to give it a prescribed height. I wanted them to decide that and let me know. Then I have dimensions for where the wall would be placed, what the depth of the seat would be, because this is a kind of a cool like bench on the back of this game stall, okay? Over here on the side, I have a ladder made of steel. I said it's 1 foot typical between the rungs of that ladder. Climbable ladders on both sides made of steel because that's what we can climb safely. This 6 inches, if you note over here, it says or height of steel deck platform because I was like, you don't have to build a 6-inch thing if you have a steel deck platform, right? This should actually be a dashed line. It's a solid line because that would not be visible on this side of the unit, right? From the front of the unit, you wouldn't see this seating platform on the back. So in a better drafting, that line, this line right here, would be dashed. Let's see if I can draw a dashed line without losing my mind. Dash like this. Better drafting will look this way. Okay. The other thing that I would have done, had I known that my technical director didn't listen as well as he didn't listen. So this side says this face is red and white striped fabric. That's true. I should have also indicated that this side is painted banner. Will it let me? Typey type? Come on, baby. Typey type? Painted banner. Painted fabric banner. Because he wouldn't let me do it out of fabric, and I was mad about that. It's cool. Everything's good. I also put in a couple figures for scale, just so that they could see sort of that this is the height of a person relative to this thing that someone might climb. So that is how I would draft something like a enclosed 3-dimensional trailer unit, okay? I also have, if you go down here, a reference about sort of what gesture I'm looking for, and this is what that looks like in 3D, right? These two are much simpler. They don't have all of that other business. They're just rolling platforms with walls on them. So takeaways, right, is elevations are the detailed drawings of each individual scenic unit. Each elevation has a drawing label that's attached to it. That drawing label should be unique so that you can identify it in the drafting package. Some people will just number the drawings across the plate, and that's totally fine. You can say this is drawing 1 on plate 1 or drawing 3 on plate 7. That's cool. I've used letters and numbers in order to differentiate my scenic units a little bit more, which is also fine. These will reference back to a drawing label on my ground plan, right? So this is going to be like C2 or C, right? Drawing C is referring to all of these C lettered items right here. So there it is in the ground plan, that drawing C. Okay, round platform on plate 5. Okay, bunch of other stuff, right, is labeled in this ground plan that may not have a drafting. Like string lights, I don't need to draft those because they're just something we buy. So I just indicated them in the ground plan. The second plate of a drafting package is the section view. So let's zoom out to full page. So the section view is a side view, okay, of the whole theater. It's like I took, if you see this label right here, this line is the section line that I cut in the theater. Okay, so it's like I'm taking a knife and I'm slicing right down the middle of the theater. Usually it's along the center line, but you can put it wherever you need it. If there's a reason that the center line doesn't make sense, then don't do the center line. Do something else, right? So I take this section line. This arrow is showing me which direction I'm looking in. So then on this plate, I'm looking that direction, so to the right, to the stage left, of the stage, okay? This drafting is super helpful for your lighting designer because they're trying to figure out their lighting angles in section view. And so this is now showing me how tall the various scenic elements will be from the side. And Vectorworks does that drafting for me, which is awesome. Otherwise, I'd have to draw all that stuff myself, and that would take me a long time and be really sad and annoying. The other thing that I have in this drafting package that I don't always do, but sometimes you do, right, is a scene by scene. So this is just a thumbnail version. And one of these is a hot mess. Pre-show, that's all a lie. There's like 12 versions of the scenery on that. Look at this. Look at this nonsense. There's like 15 copies of everything and like dashed lines and nonsense. We were not sure how pre-show was going to look, so I made a bunch of versions, and now this is all of them showing up on top of each other. Not ideal. So I did this scene by scene plate, which has a rendering because it made it clearer for my director. So this is what the 3D model in Vectorworks actually looks like. I took each of those scenic elements and I put my paint elevations on them. I brought in images of the goods, the soft goods that I was renting, and I layered that on them. I put in the red and white striped fabrics, all of that stuff to give everyone a better idea of what we were looking at. So this is the rendering for pre-show. Here's some renderings for some of the other scenes. So like this is the first scene at the beginning. This is another scene later in the show. This staircase did not end up here in the random place that it is in this drafting. Here's like inside of a tent, right? This was the Acropolis rendering. So all of that is a top view and then a rendering, an image view, so that it's easier for everyone else to understand and see what the stage would look like in each of those perspectives. So that's what those are. And I just did all of those on one plate. It sometimes is really helpful if you can print them out on individual plates, but you're not in a drafting class, you're in a stagecraft class. So the important thing for you is how to find things, use your ground plan, look for names of stuff, and match it up with your drawing labels. Again, the top is the drawing number, and then the bottom is what plate to find it on, okay? If there's a circle with a height in it, that's saying this is how tall this part of the stage is above the ground for reference. So that is the basic tour of a scenic drafting package. Now I'm going to give you a couple of wall elevations, a cutlass project that would be like a paper project for practicing your wood math and your scenic construction layout. So that will be your other project, and then I'll see you in the shop. Or if I already saw you in the shop, I'll see you on Thursday. Thanks, guys.